Thank you for joining today. I am Rob Bonta, California Attorney General. Grateful for the opportunity to be here with all of you. Super excited to be here with so many incredible and powerful leaders speaking with one voice today. I do want to recognize and thank some of the incredible trailblazers that I have the honor and opportunity to be with today, standing up here, including the lead authors of the legislation that we are here to announce today. One of our newest Assembly members didn't wait to get active and aggressive early on, as we fully expect from her, someone who is a wonderful colleague in the California Department of Justice before she ran for and won an Assembly seat here in Sacramento, Assemblymember Maggie Krell. You'll be hearing from Maggie shortly, Assemblymember Krell. Also, Assemblymember Rebecca Bauer-Cahan, you will see her as the author of quite a number of bills that I have the honor of sponsoring, and grateful that she is taking a leading role here again. Assembly Majority Leader Cecilia Aguiar-Curry, as well as President of Planned Parenthood Affiliates of California, the one and only inimitable Jody Hicks. Also Vice President of Public Affairs at Essential Access Health, Shannon Olivieri Hovis. And there's Shannon. And Policy Director at the Black Women for Wellness Action Project, Onyema Obi Yeka. So we have an incredible group. Also, other members of the Women's Caucus are here, standing, as you'd expect, resolutely, firmly, strongly in support of reproductive freedom. And in California, we are not backing down. We are absolutely committed to making sure that all women have access to reproductive freedom, full period, full stop. And I want to express my heartfelt appreciation to my team that has been working around the clock on this issue. We'll continue to work around the clock as we move into a Trump administration 2.0. Grateful for all of their efforts to ensure and protect access to vital health care, including senior legal analyst Wendy Harrison, Deputy Attorneys General Erica Connolly, Lauren Zweier, and David Huska, Supervising Deputy Attorneys General Carly Eisenberg and Natalie Torres, Senior Assistant Attorney General Nellie Palma, and Associate Deputy Solicitor General Kara Newlin, Principal Deputy Solicitor General Helen Hong, Special Assistant Attorney General James Toma, Legislative Advocate Tiffany Brokaw, and Director of the Office of Legislative Affairs, Amy Alley. So we have a great team. We have a large team. Our team and the incredible leaders up here are working together in collaboration, in partnership, and we're here today to announce the introduction of two Assembly bills that would safeguard access to reproductive care in California. The first, our Medication Abortion Access Bill, would ensure medication abortion remains an accessible option for those seeking abortion care throughout the state. And the second, the Attorney General Enforcement of the Reproductive Privacy Act, would allow my office to enforce the Reproductive Privacy Act and impose financial penalties on localities that attempt to interfere with an individual's right to have an abortion. This is not hypothetical. We had a city, the city of Beverly Hills, that violated that right, and we are passing a bill, or introducing a bill that would increase the penalties and the accountability for such misconduct. DOJ is proudly sponsoring these bills because the basic fundamental right to abortion is being threatened throughout the country. And unfortunately, even right here within the state of California. As they say, failing to plan is planning to fail, and we are planning. This legislation is us planning to stay ahead of the curve regardless of what the Trump administration has in store for the future of abortion care. With growing threats to the availability of medication abortion, it's critical we guarantee there will be continued access right here in California. The U.S. Supreme Court, President-elect Trump, and those he has nominated for cabinet positions say that abortion should be left to the states. The Medication Abortion Access Bill is us ensuring that we will continue to provide access to basic health care across California. A safe and proven alternative to procedural abortions. Medication abortion is estimated to make up about 60% of all abortions in the U.S., almost 2/3 of all abortions in the U.S. are via medication abortion. This bill would help provide continued access to medication abortion and also shield manufacturers, distributors, and authorized healthcare providers and individuals from any civil or criminal liability when legally transporting, distributing, or administering medication abortion here in California. The truth is, this is an urgent and dangerous situation. The right-wing extremists continue to wage attack after attack on our bodily autonomy at the expense of the health or life of pregnant persons. They've already launched multiple unfounded lawsuits seeking to curb access to medication abortion. They want to eliminate access to this basic health care, and they're hoping to seal this fate through a U.S. Supreme Court ruling. But they can't change the facts. Mifepristone and misoprostol are safe. They are effective. They are safer than taking Tylenol, safer than taking Viagra, safer than undergoing a colonoscopy. They are safe. They are effective. And this might be a strange concept to some, but we should trust people to make their own decisions about their own health, their own bodies. Abortion is a constitutional right in California, but that won't mean much if Californians can't actually obtain an abortion, which is why we're also announcing the Attorney General enforcement of the Reproductive Privacy Act, which would allow my office to officially enforce the Reproductive Privacy Act, a law prohibiting the state, meaning any city, town, or municipality, from denying or interfering with an individual's fundamental right to abortion. Again, not hypothetical. Under current law, individuals can bring lawsuits forward when government officials illegally try to prevent them from accessing reproductive care. But given the stigma around abortion that many experience, as well as limited resources, many don't pursue legal action. We know this is a real problem because just recently, my office held the city of Beverly Hills accountable for illegally interfering with and ultimately preventing a new reproductive health care clinic from opening within their city jurisdiction. We were able to prevent Beverly Hills from taking this type of action again, but we weren't able to seek financial penalties that would, in turn, further disincentivize government actors from violating the law. This bill would update the tools in our toolbox at DOJ to be able to utilize the Reproductive Privacy Act as another enforcement mechanism in holding those government actors attempting to deny abortion care accountable. This is the latest action we've taken at DOJ, but you can be sure it won't be the last. We are all in, all the way. Since I've been Attorney General, we've sued a hospital in Northern California over its failure to provide emergency abortion health care. We protected access to medication abortion and birth control. We helped safeguard the privacy of patients and providers. We sued a chain of 5 so-called crisis pregnancy centers in Northern California and an anti-abortion group for misleading patients about so-called abortion pill reversal, a risky and experimental protocol. We worked on laws to protect individuals seeking an abortion and providers from for providing abortions, to prohibit law enforcement from cooperating with or providing information to out-of-state entities regarding a lawful abortion in California, and to overall expand reproductive rights in California. And we've made it clear that no pregnant person can be prosecuted for pregnancy loss. As AG, I'll continue to stand with you on the front lines of this fight, no matter what comes from the White House, from Washington, D.C., from Congress. I hope that this legislation sends a clear message to the rest of the nation. In California, we're not going back. We're moving forward, full speed ahead. We're a reproductive freedom state, and that's not changing. We will remain so. These bills also send a message to anyone seeking abortion care. We're here for you. We're here to support you. We see you and we value you. I'd like to again commend all of these incredible leaders that I'm proud to stand with for their leadership, for their efforts, for their partnership, for everything they are doing, have done, will do to defend reproductive health care. We're in this together. We are strong as a team, unbreakable in our bonds. And with that, I want to turn it over to the first of these leaders to speak today, an honor to introduce Assembly Majority Leader Cecilia Aguiar-Curry to speak more about this critical legislation.
Thank you very much, Attorney General Bonta, and I would like to thank the women that have arrived and are here today. We here in California have been fighting to maintain reproductive rights for California women and for the women across the country. I'm proud to stand here with our Assembly Member Krell to fight to protect those rights of women across the state, because women should make their own health care decisions. You know, as we know, as women in other states face increasing restrictions, the Safe Access to Abortion Care Act will help women get the reproductive health care that they need. As chair of the Legislative Women's Caucus, we will take this fight on. Thank you very much. I'd like to move on to Assemblymember Rebecca Bauerkane.
Thank you so much. I want to begin by thanking our Attorney General, who has been an incredible ally and fierce, fierce advocate for women and their rights across California since his days serving with us in the legislature through his time as Attorney General. I'm Assemblymember Rebecca Bauer-Cahan. I'm the Assemblymember from the 16th Assembly District, and I'm also the mother of a 13-year-old girl. When I was sworn in 6 years ago, she was 7. She couldn't bear children, and she didn't know what abortion was. This morning, when I told her what I was doing today, she said, "Make sure they know that nobody should make girls like me have babies." That, my friends, is what girls who are growing up in America today think and feel. And I couldn't be more proud to stand beside our top law enforcement officer in the state and these incredible women colleagues of mine as we enter today at almost parity in the legislature, which we know will change the game for California. We'll be at almost half women, 49%. And we will fight for girls like my daughter and for every single girl and woman in California, because we want them to know that we are fighting for them and their rights. And as this nation continues to try to take our rights away, deny us control of our own futures, we're not having it here in California, and nor is our Attorney General. The Women's Caucus over the past few years, in partnership with our partners across the service spectrum who are here with us today, who provide abortions, have done a lot to make sure that Californians are protected and that those who come here to seek access to reproductive health care are protected. We have protected women providers, those who support them, from civil and criminal prosecution in other states and here in California. We protected their privacy, whether it be online on apps or their medical records. And so we believe in a lot of ways California is ready for the moment we stand in today. But it doesn't mean there's not still work to do, and that's why we're here saying we will continue to fight for California's women and the rights that they deserve. And so today, in partnership with the Attorney General, I'll be introducing legislation that will ensure enforcement of that right to privacy that every single California woman is guaranteed in our Constitution, that passed overwhelmingly here in California. As the Attorney General said, there are reasons why women won't themselves go to court and ask for those rights to be enforced. And so he will do it for them when needed. Doesn't mean they don't continue to have those rights, and every woman who should and wants to should enforce her own rights. But the Attorney General in the state of California will also have the backs of those who need access to reproductive health care. From cities with blue city councils like Beverly Hills to those with Republican city councils like Fontana, we've seen cities standing in the way of abortion access. So last year I introduced legislation that ensured streamlining for the clinics trying to open in these cities. But what we know is that our laws are only as good as the enforcement mechanisms in them. And so today we are announcing better teeth to make sure those cities do not stand in the way of those clinic doors opening. Because not only do those clinics provide critical access to abortion care, they provide cancer screenings and STD treatment and all the things that we need to keep our bodies healthy, well, and whole and control our own futures. And so California continues to do what we need to do to protect women here and those who will come here. Because we find ourselves again in a moment where they will take our rights away if they can. And I also want to close by saying that we were ready for what comes. As we introduced that legislation I mentioned earlier, it wasn't limited just to abortion access, which is the rights they've tried to take away to date. We have made sure to protect other rights. When we introduced legislation to protect medical records, it not only protects your medical records as it relates to abortion care. We included the privacy of patients seeking trans care, but also the bill included contraception, because we will not be caught off guard if they try to take women's rights away. We will be ready, and we will have your back, California. And with that, I want to introduce the first of our fierce leaders, who I am so excited to work with as we face this moment, the head of Planned Parenthood California, Jody Hicks.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to first thank Attorney General Bonta, Assemblymember Bauer-Cahan, Assemblymember Krell, who I want to take a minute to say how excited we are, an alumni of Planned Parenthood, now serving to protect and further the needs for women in California, and also Majority Leader Aguiar Curry, Chair of the Women's Caucus, and everyone behind us for convening today to again talk about what we do here in California, which is fight back. I wish that I was here celebrating. I wish that we were talking about a world where we're working with our federal government to expand rights, that we are working with our federal government to ensure that everyone has the right to access reproductive health care, all rights to bodily autonomy, no matter where they live, no matter what their zip code is. But that's not the reality that we found ourselves in these few weeks after this election. We are here knowing all too well the dangerous reality of a Trump presidency. We know the credibility of his threats to the health, to the well-being and autonomy of all of our vulnerable California communities. But we've also been here before, and we do what California does, which is we gather ourselves together, we look at what we need to do. We don't ban access to reproductive health, we don't ban rights, we expand them here in California. In California, we tell a different story. And Americans across the nation will look to California to be that haven state that we have been during this time. Represent Planned Parenthood, over 100 health centers throughout the state of California that are seeing patients from all across the country. And we're seeing patients that are facing the dire consequence of what's happening across the nation, even the fatal outcomes for some, and we know that that's the reality. But here in California, we tell a different story, and we'll continue to expand access in our great state. Having said all of that, we know that we have work to do, and we'll roll up our sleeves and do that, especially around access. And we know in particular that the attacks to cut off access to medication abortion, even here in California, is very, very real. And what that means to patients here in California and anyone that needs to come to California for care. But that's what we're doing here today, is ensuring that we use all the tools in our toolbox, that we ensure that we have access to medication abortion, that we ensure that there's enough teeth for the Attorney General to be able to ensure that people have safe access to our health centers, to all health care, including abortion. As a provider, Planned Parenthood sees 1/3 of all Planned Parenthood patients in the country. Serve more than 1 million patients annually, more than 100 health centers throughout California, and we know intimately what is needed as we continue to navigate this healthcare crisis. And I just want to say, as dire as everything is, it really is what we can celebrate here in California, and what we'll be swearing in today, how many women we've sworn in. We have a track record with everyone here and how we've championed to ensure that we're expanding access to care. All of the things that we've done here in California really is worth celebration, despite the fact that we have to secure California and fight back. But I'm choosing to celebrate and feel good about the community and everyone behind me and in what's at stake. And we called for the first days out. We didn't look at what we could do to harm people. We called special session. We're ensuring that we do everything. And it will take all of us and all of our work. And I'm committed to be in this fight. I know everyone here is as well. It will take the governor's office and commitment to stand with all of us and have those conversations. And I look forward to having them. With that, I'd like to introduce some next speakers that are my partner in crime with the Future of Abortion Council. Other partners, Shannon Olivieri Harris, Vice President of Public Affairs with Essential Access Health. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Shannon Olivieri Hovis, and I'm the Vice President of Public Affairs at Essential Access Health. Essential Access was founded in California more than 50 years ago and protects and expands pathways for people to access equitable and high-quality sexual and reproductive health care. California has long been a leader to protect our fundamental freedoms. Now, California must lead like never before. Bold state action is urgently needed to protect abortion access as we prepare to face swift and severe threats to sexual and reproductive health care nationwide. Because the reality is that though we have weathered a Trump administration and a Congress hostile to reproductive freedom before, the 2022 Dobbs decision leaves the country in uncharted territory. We no longer have baseline federal protections for the right to abortion, the consequences of which continue to be horrific and inhumane in approximately half of the United States. And we expect the incoming administration to overreach into reproductive freedom states like California, attempting to limit access even here, in particular through attacks on medication abortion. Hostile federal actions will only further escalate our national public health crisis amidst rising rates of maternal mortality, especially among Black women. Essential Access is proud to be a trusted partner in the work to protect and expand abortion access in California. In 2022, California made historic investments of more than $200 million to expand access to abortion. Essential Access is honored to administer 3 of the programs established at that time, with initial investments totaling $80 million. These programs, the Uncompensated Care, Abortion Practical Support, and Los Angeles Abortion Safe Haven programs ensure abortion and contraception services are affordable and accessible, and assist pregnant people with support needed to obtain an abortion, things like transportation, lodging, and childcare, and support innovative approaches to expand access in LA County. In the first year alone, the Uncompensated Care and Practical Support programs served more than 103,000 people, the vast majority of whom are California residents. Essential Access has also served as the lead implementation partner on the College Student Right to Access Act, working closely with the CSU and UC and providing training and technical assistance to integrate medication abortion on campus. This legislation made California the first state in the nation to bring medication abortion to its public universities, and other states and colleges have followed suit. It is imperative that California's progress and the progress of states across the country are protected. Public support for abortion is higher than ever. More than 80% of the time that abortion rights were placed directly on the ballot since Roe was overturned, voters have shown up resolutely to defend them. Last month, voters approved reproductive freedom ballot measures in red, purple, and blue states, including in Arizona, where voters overturned their 15-week ban, and in Missouri, where voters overrode their total ban. What is needed now is courage and resilience. We are grateful to Attorney General Bonta, to Assemblymember Krell, Assemblymember Bauer-Kahan, and the leadership of the Women's Caucus for their resolute leadership to protect access to comprehensive sexual and reproductive health care, including medication abortion, in California. We will continue to work day in and day out with our partners and elected leaders to secure additional protections to safeguard abortion access here at home. Thank you. And with that, it is my honor to introduce Onyema Obiekia, who is the Policy Director at Black Women for Wellness. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Onyema Obiekia with Black Women for Wellness and Black Women for Wellness Action Project, statewide community-based organizations committed to the health and well-being of Black women and girls. Our programming and policy work is rooted in the reproductive justice framework, which maintains that we have the human right to control our sexuality, our gender, our work, and our reproduction. That right can only be realized when all people have the complete economic, social, and political power and resources to make healthy decisions about our bodies, our families, and our communities in all areas of our lives. At the core of RJ, or reproductive justice, is the human right to maintain personal bodily autonomy, the right to have a child or not to have a child, and the right to parent a child or children in safe and healthy environments. So it follows under this framework that we understand and believe that equitable access to all methods of abortion care is integral to reproductive justice. As we navigate the fallout from the Dobbs decision, where for the first time in history the Supreme Court revoked a constitutionally protected fundamental right, anti-abortion extremists have demonstrated through continued assaults on our dignity and safety an unwavering commitment to decimate our right to bodily autonomy. They did not stop with the devastation of Dobbs. They remain undeterred in their mission of oppression and control. This is clear as despite the fact that the Supreme Court has turned this key basic health care decision and right over to the states, their latest tactics to weaponize the courts reveal an effort to usurp the power of states like California that have worked so diligently to protect and expand access to the full spectrum of reproductive health care, including abortion care. A focus of these cruel efforts is attacking medication abortion, the most widely used method for abortion care that has proven extremely safe and effective. The medication abortion protocols are not only safe, effective, and most widely used methods of abortion care, they are an integral part of the full spectrum of reproductive health care. At our organization, we often refer to, and our guiding sort of saying is an Audre Lorde quote that says, "There's no such thing as a single-issue struggle because we do not live single-issue lives." As Black women and gender-expansive people navigate the very real effects of systemic and structural racism that manifest as lack of access to quality health care, absence of job opportunities, inadequate access to healthy food and clean water, among others, access to abortion care is a critical, intersecting issue that determines the quality of our lives. Not only should we be able to decide whether or not to continue a pregnancy, but we should also enjoy full access to the range of care, protocols, and resources that support us in doing so. What's more, attacks on medication abortion stand to exacerbate persistent disparities and inequities that drive adverse health outcomes. As Black women and birthing people face a true crisis of maternal mortality and morbidity in this country, being 3 to 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes, more likely to suffer miscarriage, etc., etc. Removing options to control our reproduction or access responsive health care is an attack and threat to our very lives. We are capable of making decisions in our own best interest and therefore should have access to the full range of abortion care options that allow us to select the option most suitable for our needs. Attacks on medication abortion reduce the options available to us. Safeguarding continued access to medication abortion in California is imperative for women and birthing people in our state to make the best decisions for ourselves and our families with dignity. It is also a matter of equity and safety. By working to ensure continued access to medication abortion, this critical piece of legislation builds on and affirms the tremendous efforts that California has made to realize and maintain its designation as a reproductive freedom state. It continues to strengthen California's ability to protect our fundamental rights. It is a proactive and vital step in the fight to preserve the dignity and self-determination of our communities. This bill moves California further in the direction of reproductive justice. We remain committed to the values of reproductive justice and will continue to work towards a society that values Black women and girls, that respects and offers basic health care, which includes abortion, to everyone who needs the service. We will proudly continue to fight to advance reproductive justice and dismantle the oppressive structures that jeopardize our reproductive freedom. We are deeply, deeply grateful to Attorney General Bonta, Assemblymember Krell, Assemblymember RBK, Rebecca Bauer-Cahan. I'll do it because they know it with my name. Assemblymember Bauer-Cahan, Chair Aguiar Curry, the Women's Caucus, all of our champions in the legislature present here today, and those who are not, for their steadfast commitment to ensuring that our communities have the resources necessary to support our reproductive autonomy and determine our reproductive destinies. Thank you. And I will actually pass it to Assemblymember Krell.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Maggie Krell. I get sworn in about an hour. Assemblymember Pellerin is getting a head start over there, and I want to thank all of my colleagues, especially for being here on such a busy morning. Assemblymember Stephanie Wynn, Assemblymember Sharp Collins. She probably had to leave. Assemblymember Catherine Stephanie. Assemblymember Tasha Bonner, and of course Berner. I'm so sorry. And see, I don't know where anything is around here. So first day at school issues for me. I want to thank them all for being here. And you know, it might be my name on this bill, their names on other bills, but all of us are united in the fight for reproductive access for health care and for California. And so I appreciate that. A little bit about me and my connection to this. I spent some of the most impactful years of my career right here in this building prosecuting sex trafficking cases. And the survivors that I worked with along the way told me over and over again about the ways that pimps exercised reproductive coercion over them, meaning that they were deprived of access to condoms, they had to pay their pimps to get their birth control pills. Sometimes they weren't allowed to go to the healthcare clinics of their choice, forced births, forced pregnancies, lack of control over their own bodies. When I left DOJ to go to Planned Parenthood, my job was to protect their rights and the rights of all women to have control over our own bodies and to access the healthcare of our choice. So, here we are in this day where we have an incoming federal government that is hostile to women's rights. We have a Department of Justice incoming that may not even defend the FDA's approval of medication abortion drugs. We have a United States Supreme Court that has abrogated the personal liberty interests of women to control their own bodies and returned the issue to states' rights. And then we have states that are trying to overrun their own boundaries into territories not in their jurisdiction to target healthcare providers and their patients. That's the environment that we're in. That's what we're faced with. But California has done a lot to be ready for this. California, 2 years ago, passed Proposition 1, which enshrined the right to abortion in California's Constitution. This is the most important, critical first step. One thing we've learned over the years, and one thing I learned at Planned Parenthood, is that rights don't really do us any good if we can't access them. Even when Roe versus Wade was the law of the land, there were large swaths of women throughout the country that actually could not access abortion because of trap laws, targeted restrictions against abortion providers. You guys probably remember the case law before Roe versus Wade. It was, all of the cases dealt with, is this an undue burden or not? And it was various restrictions that, courts had to decide whether they were undue or not. But it made it very difficult to access reproductive health care. And even in California, there's some people that still face barriers, and we still have what are known as healthcare deserts, where people don't have full access. So what we're doing in this bill and in other legislation that we're going to be passing this session is to make sure that it's not just a constitutional right that lives in a constitutional document on paper, that it's real, and that it's accessible. So my bill will protect access to medication abortion. It will ensure that patients and providers have access to what they need, to mifepristone, to misoprostol, to any other, and protect the transportation, the mailing, the supplying of everything that would be needed for a medication abortion. So that is what we're doing today. I think I have to go because we've got an oath to take. But I'm so grateful to all the leaders up here, to my future colleagues, and my former colleagues as well. Thank you.
Thank you.